very much, Jim. Let's give Jim another great round of applause. Obviously, for Jim to do his job, he needs a lot of community partners. And so many of you are here today, and obviously to go through and name all of you, we'd be here all day, but you all know who you are. And you wouldn't be here today if you weren't part of this celebration. And obviously, to bring about a success like this today, it takes a lot of people. And the reason why this is a success is because it patches together a lot of different programs that are essential to making this work. There is no one silver bullet that made this happen. It really was a combination of a number of different initiatives paired together, both at the federal level and the state and in the local level. And that is why I think it's so important to acknowledge the fact that today we have the leadership of the state here. And you're very fortunate to have the leadership of the state also be your local legislative leadership, and why it was so important that you continue to have that leadership in our Senate President, Teresa Paiva-Weed. Give a great round of applause. The Neighborhood Opportunities Program, which is essential to this, was really found its place in the state Senate, and it was because of her leadership that is part of this. And of course, Russell Jackson is key to this because you have to have that partnership with the House, so his commitment to this is crucial. And of course, you have to have the great support of your mayor, Jean Marie Napolitano, and that city leadership is essential. And so let's give a great round of applause to them. It's not always a popular thing when you talk about public housing. That, believe me, today is not something that people necessarily gravitate towards. Why? Because when you talk about anything that is ostensibly for poor people, our society looks down on people who are not fortunate enough to have a decent economic situation, because they like to blame people for their economic situation as if they're less meritorious as individuals because they don't have a good economic situation, irrespective of the fact that right now a good percentage of all Americans are in dire straits economically. So if you were to apply that rule that somehow it's a reflection on the person and their moral turpitude, if they don't have a good economic situation, that they're not worthy as individuals, then pretty much you got half of the American public that aren't worthy as people. And so it's a pretty negative part of our culture that we evaluate the importance of people based upon their economic wherewithal. And ironically, if you look at who the worst miscreants are in terms of social values in our country in the last 2 years, it's been the very richest people in our society. Those Wall Street folks, Madoff, who everybody just thought was the cat's meow because he had all this money, he was giving it out to everybody. When everybody found out finally he was scamming everybody and taking all their money. But because he was so rich, people thought he was still a great guy. And then you go around and you look, and it's amazing how in our society we just somehow still just are in awe of rich people just because they're wealthy. And it is really one of the worst, I think, character traits of a capitalist society that we associate the value of people based upon their wealth. And that translates into our health care, by the way, and it's the reason why we're in a situation now debating health care. And I just spent a second about this, because we value whether we give people health care based upon whether they have the size of their pocketbook. And we make people wait as to whether they get medical attention based upon how wealthy they are. And that is essentially saying, well, whether your life is worth saving or not depends on whether you're of means or not. Not whether you're a child of God, not whether you have humanity and you're a basic person in our society and worth the care because you're a human being, and thereby for the grace of God goes any of us.
That's right.
But because we as a society say you're only important because of your wealth. So I want to just say that and say what is so important about this place is that this is not about just public housing. This is about dignity. It's about providing people. I mean, I've never seen housing like this that people say, well, this is public housing. This is not public housing that I've ever seen. This is about affordable housing and opportunities. Because it's not housing, it's about a community where people get the housing that's not going to bankrupt them from being able to afford anything else in life, because a lot of Rhode Islanders are paying way over 30% of their income on housing. Yes. And they have very little else to pay for child care for their kids, to pay for educational opportunities, to be able to do anything else. What this community allows, because of the patchwork quilt of services, is to allow people to have an opportunity for child care for their families, to get access to the school system, to have a community college around the corner, to get increased job skills so they can improve their opportunities to get even better jobs. And it provides social services, because everybody understands unless you have stable housing, you can have all the social services in the world, they're not going to do a bit of good because you don't have stability in your life. And that's what all the social science tells us today, especially if you're trying to get mental health services to people. You don't have any chance of doing that unless people first have stability in their housing. How important is this place? It's about restoring the dignity of people's lives and giving them a sense of hope, when in this society today, too many people are struggling to even have hope given the economic challenges that this country is now facing. What a bright spot on the horizon that this neighborhood is. And I thank everybody who was part of it.